So with our daily lives turned upside down because of a virus, companies, colleagues, friends and families are now finding new ways to communicate in this new norm. And I think the product that we are taking a look today cannot come at a more timely period. Today we're taking a look at a webcam or a camera that aims to revolutionize the industry and really bring us closer to everyone around us in this crazy time. So will they be any good? Welcome to a review of the Obsbot Tiny. Hello, my name is Sean and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I do a lot of tech reviews as well as unboxing, and if that is something that interests you, do consider subscribing to this channel, leave a thumbs up on this video as well as share this video to all your friends around. With that said, let's get on with a review of the Obsbot Tiny. So the Tiny camera today here is sent over to me by Obsbot for review, and I've honestly loved the implementation that they have done here and the innovation that they have put into this camera. So the Obsbot is a modern take on the traditional webcam and retails for about 199 USD, and that's roughly about 800 Malaysia ringgit. Not the cheapest, but if you compare it to most PTZ cameras, which is pan tilt zoom cameras, just like the Logitech PTZ Pro 2, the Obsbot is a steal. So let's see if this feature would justify it for you. And if you're interested in buying this camera, do check out my links in the description below. So comparing it to many cameras or webcams of today, these are honestly priced at the higher end of things, especially if you consider that for this price point, if you're looking for a webcam, you can get the 4K Logitech Brio 4K Pro, which shoots in 4K resolution. However, the Logitech is not a PTZ camera, so no pan tilt zoom there. So honestly, they are cameras of different league. The Obsbot Tiny, despite its name, is not a tiny webcam and has a base that is quite large and a footprint that is not the smallest. However, that's because the webcam itself comes with a 2-axis gimbal, not so much for stabilization but for the webcam to be able to move around and track you. So the entire thing is made of a plastic housing, and it's a pretty solid plastic housing, I must say, and you can feel that the webcam itself has some weight to it, and the entire thing feels very well made and very high quality. So at the front of the camera, you get the Obsbot logo there at the top there. And at the top here, there's a panel for the LED lights to shine through. And the entire top part of the camera is the gimbal arm, and it holds the 1080p Full HD camera in place. So at the back of the camera, you get a Type-C port for you to connect the camera to your devices, your Windows laptop or your Mac, and a DC 5W power input at the top for those times where you're using a device that doesn't have enough power to power the webcam. But in this case, usually most modern laptops or PC should be able to connect it directly through the USB-C port. At the bottom of the webcam, you also get a 1/4-inch tripod mount, so you can freely mount them anywhere. And if you have a Gorilla port, that makes it even more flexible for all your mounting needs. And Obsbot give you a nice magnetic base here for you to mount your webcam onto your monitor or your laptop. So this thing is actually very strong. So since this is a 2-axis gimbal camera, what it means is that you can use the panning. So this is panning. And you can also use the tilting capability. And the webcam can pan up to 150 degrees. So it can go from here all the way to here. So 150 degrees, and has a tilting angle of 45 degrees. So you can 45 degrees down or you can 45 degrees up. So you can also tilt it down and it will temporarily pause the webcam, so you know that you're in privacy mode, and you can see that the light turns yellow. So you know that it's not filming anything. So if you want to film yourself, tilt it up and it will turn green. So as a webcam, the Tiny is very well featured, and I love the controls and features you get with this camera. So the main feature for this gimbal setup is so that the webcam can track you, and the use case here is absolutely vast. The camera uses AI tracking with deep learning to track your subjects and know how to best frame you in the shot using their auto framing technology. So there's a lot of use cases here, especially if you are a live streamer. This would be very good for you to film yourself so you don't go out of frame. Another use case here is that if you use this camera for teaching purposes and you want to walk over to your whiteboard and move around during the class, and this would be very useful. Another use case I can think of is that you teach some kind of exercising or dancing, and this camera would be fantastic to track you around, which is super cool. And the last use case that I can think of using this kind of camera is usually in boardroom meetings, whereby you have a camera and many people in a room, and it'll start to track the people inside the room. So I guess that would be a very good use case, but of course during this pandemic there's no way for me to test out this with many people around, so I would guess that that would be one of the use cases here. And the camera also uses smart gesture control, so you can use the camera to start or stop your tracking, or you can zoom in and out. So those are the two gestures that you can do, and overall it's very simple and it's something you can do very easily. So like I've mentioned earlier, Obsbot also markets this to have unparalleled privacy, meaning if you want to avoid any accidental sharing, you can always tilt the camera down, and you can see that this thing turns yellow, means you're not filming anything. So it's better than conventional webcams because there is no way to tilt those cameras around, except for if you want to put a cap onto those cameras. So in the case of the Obsbot Tiny, it's very smart. So at the bottom here, you can see that there's a hole here and there's another hole here. And this is what Obsbot called the dual omnidirectional mics with noise cancellation. But from my test, they are not the clearest in my opinion if you use this mounting on your monitor, which is quite far away. But if you use it on your laptop screen and generally you're nearer to it, then it works pretty well. The camera module here is a full HD camera, so you'll be able to record up to 1080p footage at 30 frames per second. So plenty sufficient for your online content or conference calls. Plus the camera also comes with AI auto exposure and smart white balance to ensure that your picture looks great with this camera. So this is a test footage of the Obsbot Tiny, and you can see that it's actually pretty impressive. So I'm in a place within my office which is very dimly lit. I have a monitor light here as well as a ceiling light right up there. And this is the quality that you're going to get. So there are a couple of gestures you can do. So the first one is tracking. So you can see that the camera is tracking me now. I can do this and it will stop tracking me. So you can see it's not tracking me. I can do a zoom just like that. I can zoom out again, just like that. So that's basically all the features you get with the Obsbot Tiny. So I've now swapped over to my MacBook Pro 16-inch webcam here, and you can see this is the quality that you get. So same lighting, same situation, same place, and this is the quality that you're basically getting. So you're not going to get a very high quality image, especially in low light conditions. So that's something to take into consideration. So if you want a significant upgrade to your footage, then the Obsbot Tiny is definitely an option. So the Obsbot app is very simple to use, and at the homepage itself you can see that your camera is connected, and under smart shooting you can enable or disable AI tracking, and below that you get a zoom feature, and the camera supports up to 2x digital zoom, so you can frame yourself nicely before starting your conference call. The gimbal controls on the right hand side lets you adjust the camera tilt and pan so that you can frame yourself better as well, and under the settings itself you get to upgrade the camera firmware. You also get a whole bunch of gesture controls here, so you get to adjust the controls to for the tracking and zooming. And if you do the gesture zooming, how much you want it to auto zoom, you can either go all the way to 2x or adjust something specific between. And for my specific use case, I think 1.2 or 1.3 is the best. And under tracking mode, you can also give yourself more headroom, so it will show more space above your head. You have standard mode, which shows more of your body, and motion is essentially tracking you around. So apart from that, you get lots of controls to configure how your videos will look like: anti-flickering, preset position, initial boot position, and because you may mount this at odd spaces and you want it to remember its position when you start up the camera. So the Obsbot Tiny is really not tiny in terms of its features. So if you're in a market to look for a camera with intelligent feature and have pretty good quality resolution for your live streaming, online classes, or any use cases that would justify this price, then I think this becomes an invaluable tool for you where many other webcams don't offer. In other words, don't look at the Obsbot Tiny as a webcam because it's definitely more than that. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.